Hey guys, welcome to my review of my next review of Star Trek films. This is a redo because I watched my playback and noticed I totally got one actor's name wrong, and it's very, very noticeable, so I'm redoing my review. The year was 1994 when we got the next one, and I think all of us were very ecstatic for it because you were bringing some of the original crew in to help the next generation crew out with the movie. And I think the thing we were most anxious to see is the characters of Captain James T. Kirk and Captain Jean-Luc Picard meet, and that, of course, is Star Trek Generations. Another odd-numbered Trek that didn't do well, but it's actually a good movie. I gave it a 7 out of 10. So, again, spoilers. Starts off really good, though we kind of had a sense of what was going on when we saw the champagne bottle moving through space. And then we found out it's a christening ceremony, you know, the thing they do with ships, and because they're christening the USS Enterprise NCC-1701B. So, and that was cool. So you bring Kirk, Scotty, and Chekhov on to kind of help the trial run or semi-maiden voyage of the Enterprise B, which is helmed. This is where the cool cameos came into effect, because you had Alan Ruck, who we all know from either Spin City or, of course, Ferris Bueller. That was where I got the name wrong, because I actually said Alan Rickman in my last video, and then I'm like, watched the video, and I was like, oh man, I fucked that up severely. And then, of course, you had, her name is Jeanette Goldstein. You may know her if you saw her because she played the character of Vasquez in Aliens. And we had a very quick cameo, but that of Tim Russ. That is funny because it's two movies where a little cameo of an actor, and this actor will go on to be in the Star Trek television universe. And of course, you know, Tim Russ went on to play Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. I'm pretty sure I'm not giving too much away, because even if you weren't a Star Trek fan, you knew that this movie was big for one reason, that is, of course, the death of Captain Kirk. Which I don't think got the reaction everybody was expecting, because the one that that happened in number 2, because they did the same thing in number 2 as they in Generations, which they did in number 2, which has happened at the beginning and then it happened at the end. But in number 2 it had the effect, and in this it didn't. I think, even though they did tell us both times that this was happening, I think if they would have kept it secret, maybe it would have had the big crying effect that it should have had, because I didn't shed one fucking tear. I was shedding the tears more of something else that happened. We have a very interesting villain played by the very great Malcolm McDowell. And actually, on that note, his nephew is the actor who plays Dr. Julian Bashir on Deep Space Nine. How cool is that to have Malcolm McDowell as your uncle? I mean, come on. I will note that some of the scenes you can plainly tell they're stock footage from the last film, which to me makes Paramount very, very cheap in a way for doing that, because they're almost doing what Toho does with the Godzilla films, but that's the charm of the Godzilla films, is using stock footage. This just doesn't work for Star Trek. Another cool cameo in this film, of course, some of you who are Next Generation fans know that an Oscar-winning actress actually joined. Well, she didn't win the Oscar yet, but she did 2 years after she joined the cast. And that, of course, is Whoopi Goldberg as the character of Guinan. And she's in this, and that was cool, because I love her character. Her character was so fun to watch. There are some really cool scenes in this movie, of course. The two captains meet, Data putting the emotion chip into his brain, and that's worth the price of admission alone, is watching Data have emotions and react, and actually swearing in a scene. That got a huge reaction. We do have some of the Klingons in this, which were okay, but I don't think the Klingons were very much needed. There is a thing in this film, it's called the Nexus, which it's almost like you fall into it, but you don't die, but you have like a life you've always wanted, and they actually show Picard what kind of life would he have if he wasn't like in Starfleet or something. And this has a very interesting cameo because they show him with a wife and a few children, and one of the kids is an actor named Thomas Dekker, D-E-K-K-E-R, who would actually go on to play the role of John Connor in Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. That is, because I rewatched this and watched the credits, and I was like, wait, no, and I looked it up, and it's actually him, so I had to rewind it, and I'm like, oh my god. I think the more powerful thing in this movie, again, spoilers, and I usually don't like giving too much away, but I think after almost 20 years people have seen this movie, that of course is the destruction of the Enterprise D. That was where I had the most emotional reaction, because I'm a little odd. I have, you have it is just a ship, but you have like a connection to it, especially if you've grown up watching it, because at that time Next Generation had just ended, and that was 7 years of my life watching it, from the age of 6 to basically 14. But yeah, even when Serenity came out and we saw the ship for the very first time on the big screen, I actually cried. So I'm very weird that way. So I know when I see the new one and see it's not my ship, but it is in a weird way. I'm gonna have a crying check in the theater. So I'm warning my friend Scott, if he watches this, that's gonna happen. Yeah, wasn't very well received. It did do okay at the box office, but it wasn't a huge hit. And I think most people thought, oh great, now is the Next Generation crew going to have problems? And, well, the next film proved that it didn't. So yeah, I do recommend this movie. It is a good movie, 7 out of 10. It's probably my second or third favorite out of the odd-numbered films. So, yeah. Okay. You know which film is coming up next. Been hailed the second greatest, to me, of the Star Trek films since number 2. So, rate, comment, and I will see you in the next video.